Hello to Stephanie O'Brien Martin with Breaking Free and Owning Me. Thank you so much for stopping by for another breakthrough coaching call. Today's coaching caller is Tricia. And Tricia started with the question or observation or awareness that she noticed that she feels really insecure. She gets nervous whenever somebody challenges her, or she feels like she disagrees with somebody on a point and wants to address it. Or she did not use the word confront, but I'm using the word confront. Confront it so that things can move forward in a healthy way. So, if you struggle with people pleasing or having your voice or being heard, you can listen to this call. Now, some of the points that I made and some of the questions that I asked her didn't necessarily resonate with her. And I'm going to share more about this at the end for anybody that is in a helping profession. Maybe you're a coach yourself, or you just really like helping friends or people who come to you for advice. You can hear how I navigate through that. But so some of the insights I share, feedback I give her, or questions I ask her weren't really resonating with her. And you could see where the call goes and turns to. And it ended up being more of a witnessing and a validation and an affirmation call for her, and just witnessing all of the courageous things that she is doing to grow. So without further delay, here is the call. Welcome to the show, Tricia. I'm so excited to have you on today. What
Hey,
is your question?
well, thanks so much for having me on, Stephanie. My question is, I want to know how I can overcome some of the insecurity that I'm experiencing that is affecting my business, and that I worry about, well, what are they going to think if I ask this? Am I being too pushy? I don't want to bother people. Just feeling like how I can go from being nervous about what are they going to think if I upset them to just being confident in what I have to provide, which I feel is valuable.
Okay. So how long have you felt this insecurity? Has it always been just with your business, or has it been like through your whole life?
No, it's been in general kind of I don't want to upset them, or what if this? And people always say like, oh, Tricia's a really nice person, but I don't know, like, yes, I consider myself a nice person, but part of it is is it because I don't want to jump in and share something for fear of upsetting someone or that kind of thing. So it's been, as far back as I can remember.
Right. Okay. What's your earliest memory of that? What is the source?
I think part of it is that through school, I was very academically driven, and that is very objective for me. So I could focus on school and work, and I wasn't as much into the relationships aspect. So it was kind of safe there, and I didn't go out as much into creating and having really strong friendships, because that involved a level of, I guess, vulnerability and having a good solid back and forth accountability. Just my friendships were very kind of yes friends, because they were easy and they were safe. And I was so much in my work that I wasn't as much, not so good at building relationships, or wasn't intentional about it, because that was a little more than I was good at. I was good at school, and that was my thing.
Okay. And in your business, it's very relationship oriented?
Well, it's kind of a combination. So I work as a coach, and I help entrepreneurs like recapture and prioritize their time so they can really grow and succeed in their business and have the time that they want with their family. So it's productivity, time management. So kind of a blend of objectivity there, and then the family dynamics with growing a business. So a little blend. But yeah, relationship focused in terms of coaching with people and things like this, one-on-one, back and forth kind of thing.
Okay. So what does like being vulnerable mean to you?
To me, being vulnerable is allowing myself to be challenged in something, even in a fair way, a loving way, and feeling like I can come back with my thoughts and feelings without worrying so much about, oh, what are they going to think? So sometimes it's safer for me to just listen to somebody and say, oh, okay, and either mold my thoughts or values or opinions to what they're saying, or I don't know, convince myself that I might not be right, so I'm just not going to go there. And it's just like, I'm not going to open it up, so I'm going to stay quiet and be the nice person.
Okay. So would you say, I could be wrong, so feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but would you say that you have a habit of people pleasing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
I'm a recovering people pleaser, working on it.
Good.
Working on it.
Good.
It's a journey.
You acknowledge and identify. You're aware that behavior, like a go-to behavior. You know when that started appearing in your life?
I remember I got along with my teachers, even at a very young age, really well, more than my peers. And I loved helping. And I mean, I guess ultimately I was making them happy with me. Not that it was this selfish motive, but I enjoyed helping them and it was a good time and they were happy with me. And we had a good relationship beyond me turning in papers. And so it was a pleasure for me to do that. And any type of hiccup or anything like that, I'd be like, oh, I hope they're not mad at me. I need to make up for this. That kind of thing.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind.
Okay. Did you oh, I'm sorry. My phone just started making noises. Okay.
That's okay.
Did you feel like you were raised in a very safe, secure, like non-judgmental home of unconditional love?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say so. And the thing for me, I rarely did anything wrong aside from like not wanting to do chores, that kind of thing. And I didn't need punishment because the second I knew I did something wrong, I knew like, okay, I'm good. I'm not going to do it again. Like I didn't need to be grounded, none of that, because I wanted to be, maybe I did want to be the good kid, but and it was a very safe home. And so I knew, do what?
Was it strict?
Not as much when I came around. My oldest sister is 13 years older than me. And I mean, my dad grew up on a farm, very, very much hard work ethic, bootstraps kind of thing. And then that kind of softened and relaxed, and the dynamic in our family had changed a good amount by the time I came along 13 years after my oldest sister.
Okay. So it sounds like that, like in that little girl, like the good girl, like be the good girl, stay out of trouble, don't rock the boat, don't step on anybody's toes. And that's that's safety. That's
Mm-hmm.
security. That's the safe zone. Okay, so now enter into however old you are now. And
I can tell I'm 29.
okay,
You guys, it's good. It's good. I'm 29.
29. And there's like, you've learned that was your coping skill to feel safe. So that little girl, the good girl in you, comes out in how you relate to people and
Mm-hmm.
how you run your business. But you're
Right.
now, your adult 29-year-old self is like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to let this go.
Yeah. Need to do something about this.
Yeah. Okay. And you're a therapist, right? Or a social worker, or you've got.
I went through social work. So I have my master's in social work, worked in the medical field for 4 years. And then I came home to stay with my baby boy.
Okay. What drew you to that field?
I had a history of clinical depression. And really, after the first couple episodes, I thought, wow, I've been through some of this pain. And I want to help other people who are going through some of these things. And we all have our unique experiences. And at the same time, having experienced something like that, I knew was going to be beneficial for me to connect with people.
Okay. So you really have a heart to help people because you can relate to them in a personal and powerful way, and you want to help them overcome. How were you able to connect with the people you helped and when you were a social worker, or if you still are?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm still, I think my licenses are about to expire, which is fine. And I I provided a very safe, non-judgmental place for people. One of my patients said, you know what? I'm really thankful that I feel really comfortable talking to you, and thank you for being so welcoming and whatnot. I worked in a dialysis facility, and so I was able to be a safe place, especially in a really vulnerable situation like being hooked up to a dialysis machine. And so I was as much on the relational side as I could be with all of the paperwork that I was drowning in most of the time. And my patients really liked me. I was able to help them, and I really enjoyed being that place where they could just talk to, vent, whatever, get out what they need to whenever they needed to, just kind of get some stuff off their head, out of their head, off their heart.
Okay. So when that insecurity is triggered, what specific thing can you like paint a better picture of when you're triggered, what's happening?
Mm-hmm. It's usually in, say, an interaction when someone, for lack of a better word, like challenges me or challenges a thought or something that I've said, even in a super loving way. I go, oh, maybe, well, my thoughts go to, well, maybe I'm wrong, or should I not have said that, or are they upset with me? And then, like, physically, my face gets red. So don't get me too worked up on here, Stephanie, because my face is going to get all red. My face gets red, my belly hurts, I feel this heaviness in my chest, and I know that it's like, Tricia, chill out. But that I still have that physiological reaction to even just little stupid stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if there was a significant event that happened or significant to you in the
Sure.
past, however old you were, whatever, that happened that made it feel like challenging somebody or going against what they have said is unsafe and scary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have
I don't
anything
know.
like that?
No,
Okay.
nothing rings a bell.
Okay. Did you have any like strong authority figures at all that were very my way or the highway? Do what I say.
Um, mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I think if I did, I would remember that feeling of they terrify me. I don't want to say anything bad. And I don't recall anything like that.
Okay. Okay. So how do you? So this helps because it doesn't always have to be like this story or limiting belief that we have. It could just be like our wiring and us kind of waking up to what muscles we need to strengthen a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you an S in disc?
Gosh, the most recent time I did it, which I think I've changed a lot since last summer, so I need to take it again. My highest were IS.
Okay.
I want to say my highest was S, but
Yeah.
don't quote me.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense because I's fear rejection and S's value security. Their greatest fear is loss of security. So like these kind of internal fears like play out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's kind of that insecurity of we so an IS blend, we are motivated by the fear. Like because we're the I, which is so outgoing and funny and easy to like and charismatic and charming, which you are all of that.
Right here.
All of that is led because we don't like rejection.
Mm-hmm.
So we like, oh, I'm going to just be the life of the party. Everyone's going to love me. And then the S has a difficult time with confrontation and rocking the boat, peace, serenity, stability, because you're motivated to protect your security.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the strengths are outgoing, charismatic, you're also very reliable and steady, and you have that safe personality that people can open up with. So you know all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the shadow side of every personality,
Right.
which,
Sure.
you know, that's what you're kind of tuning into.
So would you say that like all that good stuff kind of coming into the negative aspect that it could be, is that almost when you're pulling on it too much as like avoidance or coping? Like I'm going to be extra outgoing or whatever, so I don't have to deal with whatever.
Usually.
Do you know, like, yeah, like taking it farther than what is typical. I don't know, that's just kind of, or healthy. Yeah, healthy. Right. Typical, that doesn't work. Healthy, yeah.
So, yes, any strength overused becomes a weakness. So, like, I'm an ID. I'm also very outgoing and I love people, but I'm also a driver and like, I'm driven and dominant. And so I'm very decisive. Overusing that decisive nature is like a very impulsive, decisive person because I are impulsive. And then the D's just do. So you get this like extreme high energy that's exhausting for me and for anybody in my wake. Left in my wake. It's like a bull in a china room. Like just like calm down. So, you know, I've had to work the muscle of learning how to like what the best decision for me is for right now.
Yeah.
And I've had to practice that. So let's practice. We're kind of like, I think what could be a benefit to you is shifting how you view challenging.
Right. Yeah.
So if you disagree or have an opposing viewpoint or opinion,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean to you?
The struggle that I have with that is, am I right? How do I prove that I am? Which I know, like, do we always have to prove? Like, sometimes we can just have opinions. And so if I state one thing and the other person counters that in some respect, then I go, okay, do I say anything? Do I just say, okay, maybe that's it? Because a lot of times I think I just keep my mouth shut because I don't want to rock the boat, and I don't see, like, what's the point of this? Just brush it off. But sometimes maybe I do have a valid thing to say, and it would be good for both of us and to have a more healthy conversation rather than me just kind of saying, oh, okay, let's go eat dinner and not talk about the things that's right here and we're not dealing with.
Okay. Did this ever affect how you like coach or work with a client, or were you able to, is this more like a personal thing, or does it kind of trickle into all areas?
I think, well, it's a personal thing. Where it comes into my work is sometimes worrying about, like, I don't know, pushback. Is that what I'm thinking of? Like when I reach out to someone and they're like, no. And what I've found in coaching is that I have to sometimes push myself to push the other person to say, okay, this is what needs to be said. Tricia, say it. And because maybe that's what they need to hear. Maybe that's what they maybe are denying or don't recognize, whatever it may be. And recently I did a call and I said that, and something, I don't recall exactly what it was, but afterwards I was like so proud of myself. Like, high fives, Tricia. You did that instead of just going with the flow and just letting her be whatever she wants to do. You know what I mean?
Right, I got
Like,
you.
I was really proud of myself.
Good.
But I really had to very deliberately say, okay, this is what needs to be said. Say it. If she's upset, she'll tell me, or she'll brush it off, or she'll go be bitter. And if she's going to go be bitter, that's fine, whatever. And she received it well. Surprise.
Yes.
So I was proud of myself.
Good. And what probably is really behind that is, like, you saw something that needed to be addressed, and it's love to speak the truth. You can speak the truth in love,
and to speak the truth in love, right?
Yeah, but you still need to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's selfish, which I'm sure you've heard this, to say nothing and say it's in the name of peace and love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure you've also, or I don't know if you have, I don't want to assume, but with your training and stuff, you probably have, about people pleasing being, it's coming from a place of seeking validity from the outside in, and you're not living inside out, you're outside in. So when we are driven or triggered to people please, it's usually because it's how we have felt secure in love. We are trying to get love or keep love by people pleasing. And this is where it's selfish. We're trying to get something. We're not serving them. And Is
Oh, where are we in the call? I need to like go back and watch this part.
okay.
How many minutes in? Let's
Yeah.
think about that one. Yeah, yeah.
So,
I had not looked at it that way.
okay. And this is why, if it just think of your motive to please.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is what kind of tuned me into that when you're like, oh yeah, I liked helping the teacher, but you'd get so nervous if you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And that nervousness was probably not because it's probably because you questioned, is she still gonna like me or love me? Or validate me, or is she gonna reject me? So like your sense of love or feeling love comes from people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so
I wouldn't say that it's validation, but I would definitely say like, oh, is she not gonna want me to help with this anymore? Or what's she gonna think about me? Is she not gonna like me as a student anymore, or as a friend anymore, or as a whatever it may be?
right, so you're still questioning their love,
Yeah,
like
right,
conditional love, right? Like
right.
I feel like I can get this love by helping, and I feel secure. Like it's that the love needs to come inside from you,
Mm-hmm.
Tricia. And shifting it. So next time you're tempted to people please, or let's say you feel like you need to say something, or you ought to, or you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, okay, I gotta like speak the truth in love here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you kind of cave in and shrink back and don't
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, am I doing this because I love them, or because I love me more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love my safety and security a little bit
Right.
more than I love your freedom. So I'm
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know it sounds like when I speak so bluntly, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds ugly. But
You're mean. Bye.
and I'm not saying this as
Sure.
judgment at all. No judgment is up.
Right.
I'm being just like very plain, um, and kind of bottom line with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have been guilty of this myself.
Yeah.
Like um my temptation was not so much people pleasing, it was over responsibility, like
Mm-hmm.
taking responsibility for other people's actions. So
Yeah.
stepping up and doing stuff that they should be responsible for doing. And that's like my thing I got to overcome. And I think that's my driver. Like, if you're not going to do it,
Yeah.
then I'm going to do it. And if not, me, then who else? And all those stories of like, it's all on me, which I had to like let go of and dump in the garbage pit. So
Yeah. Now, do you think there's anything, because I don't see myself as, oh, I need them to love me. I need them to like me. I don't feel good enough unless this person likes me, this person loves me. Like that is the underlying thing with people pleasing. That doesn't like sit well or make sense with me. So is there some other motive that could be behind that? Because I don't know if it's like, okay, not that I need their love, but I need this, like, I want this relationship to go smoothly because it's easier that way, but it's not as much I want this because I want their love. I don't see that being a motive there.
okay, then that's good, and thank you for that pushback.
You got it.
You
I'm
got
already,
it.
I'm already doing it. Yes.
Yeah, see, you did it. Thank you for speaking up and letting me know this does not resonate with me. I don't think this is applicable to me. So we can keep exploring. And by the way, how did that feel when you did that?
Good.
Okay.
And now I'm like, okay, that's off my mind. That's off the table. I don't need to think about, because I could very easily just continue to go, oh, okay, I don't know, maybe she's right, even though that doesn't sound right. And then I could get off this call and go, no, that's not it. I wish I had spoken up on the call.
Yeah.
Instead of spending however much time working through something that really isn't necessarily what the problem might be.
Okay, good. So you just spoke up, you have a voice, and it's all good.
And you're not mad at me.
And I'm not mad, and our relationship is not broken. Okay, so this clarifies. So it's really because like you just don't want to risk breaking the relationship because you like that peace and that harmony. And okay.
Breaking or putting like a little kink in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a totally different motive or approach. All right. So how can we reframe it to, push back or disagreeing, or having a difference of opinion, does not mean, the relationship is going to break.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the more I've found friends who do challenge me, who are like good friends versus yes friends, I've thought, okay, that was a really healthy interaction. That turned out well because she was forthright with me. And I came back and we had a healthy discussion versus one or both of us settling and then just being like, oh, okay, let's continue eating our ice cream and not talk about what we really needed to talk about. That was a couple of months ago with a friend of mine. So she pushed me and I was like, I was really uncomfortable. But then we had this conversation and I said, okay. And that ended well. We're still friends.
Good. Okay. So keep like recalling those moments, like when you do. And so I just think like you're rising up to the challenge of like, you are doing the work. I just want to acknowledge you are doing the work. You are acting it out. You are like having a voice and leaning into the discomfort of, what feels really scary, what feels like it. And at the end of the day, this will really help you weed out who maybe shouldn't be in your life.
Yeah.
Because healthy conversation and disagreement does not, if you have people in your life that like want the yes person, and the moment you stop being in that role, they get angry and frustrated and trying to manipulate and demand.
Right.
Let them go. Right.
Right. Yeah. Bye.
So what I think like the phase in your life right now is like you're working on this muscle that is just building up strength and keep doing that. You're just like, you're pushing through, you're growing right now.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, sometimes painful. Maybe we've overworked the muscle a little too much. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever done like weight training? Like lifting weights at all?
Let's just say no, because my weight training, no. It's like, hey, let's lift some 3-pound weights with my triceps. Like, no.
Do you do body bearing, like squats, lunges, push-ups?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes with a 2-pound weight.
Basically, do you know what muscle soreness feels like?
Yes, right now, because I started on an elliptical a couple days ago.
Okay. And you know that you're waking up muscles that are weak. And they're sore. And it's uncomfortable. But the next time you get on, you're going to feel stronger.
Right.
You're going to be able to go longer, maybe at a faster pace, whatever. So that's what's happening. I think like you're just like you're acknowledge, you're aware of the insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably feeling the soreness of
Sure.
working it.
Yeah.
But you'll get stronger with it, and that soreness will eventually go away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think some of, because this makes me think of where I have been in my faith journey as a Christ follower. For years, I thought, well, I can't talk to people about, like, really go out and reach out to people because I can't spatter off all this biblical knowledge, because I should be able to back up what I believe with all of that. But then when I really came into a strong relationship with Christ, and I thought, okay, I don't need to have all of this stuff prepared to make someone believe. Because if I'm speaking, like you said, speaking truth in love, I don't have to have all the verses to back it. And so that once I started like flexing that muscle, it became a little easier for me just to talk to people about Jesus, even if I didn't have anything to back it up. And that I kind of see that paralleling here, and then I've grown a lot in that area. And then let's take it into this other area that I want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So once like, and I also have learned, I mean, everybody's different with how, they share Jesus. I'm not called to be a theological apologetic. That is not my life call.
No,
so
me neither.
When I've let that go, I was like, I don't need to know every verse to know all the science and evolution.
Yeah,
and,
right.
You know, an atheist tries to push back on me. And I actually have a close friend that he doesn't claim absolute like atheism, but he just, isn't convinced on this whole God thing.
Right, yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't even really engage. I just like just being, and I just continue just loving and showing up and like,
right, exactly.
You know what? And that's power, and that makes a difference. So you don't always have to have the words, but yeah. So so you've worked that out, and that's good. So any how are you feeling with this right now? The question.
Well, good. Well, what I really like that you said is that it's selfish in a way to keep truth in if I'm worried that it's going to affect how they perceive me, when it could be something helpful for them. And I've thought about that even, I mean, really in my faith walk, like if I'm not going to share Jesus with someone because I'm worried what they'll think of me, hello, there's an issue there. And the same thing, I don't remember who it was, but a colleague said, Tricia, you're not burdening people when you reach out to help them or to offer your services. You're not burdening them, you're blessing them. And I'm like, And so not keeping that blessing inside that I can bring out for them, because if I'm looking at it from a safety standpoint versus a what's best for them or how can I help them standpoint, safety for me, help for them, then yeah, that's something that needs to be pulled out, especially if I want to coach people.
Yes.
Effective coaches help pull that stuff out and push and challenge in a loving way, because yes, coaches aren't going to get you anywhere, but good, effective ones who ask good questions and like you are, and finding different things, pulling out different things that are going to be helpful to people.
Right. And not getting attached to the answer. So I asked a lot of things and you answered in a way I was like, oh, okay. I was thinking maybe differently, but like being open to different answers and different feedback is also, Yeah, it's awesome. There's coaching competency 101. Like, don't
Right.
catch to the answer of your client.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. So, witnessing you rocking it on there on social media and honoring your authenticity and who God made you to be, and like applying learning flow or force from our previous
Yeah.
conversation, and getting bolder in your feedback online, and witnessing you even saying no, 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 and like, that takes courage to not just go with it because this guide, like, good for you. Cause I'm like, look, pay attention. Like, the experts out there are guides, but they're not like gospel. Like,
Right.
so I just want to acknowledge that you just
Thanks.
totally worked it out there.
Yeah. Thank you. And a friend had said, Tricia, you're so good at doing these videos online, talking to people. What if you started doing a video for yourself? Like, hi, I'm Georgia, and I'm talking to Tricia. So pulling myself out of it, and what would I say to that person? What would I say to me? And I would say all these things that I want to say to people, but I'm like, oh. So one day I sat down and I did a video to myself, and I thought, wow, that girl knows what she's doing. And it's really helpful to pull myself out of it and look at it from a standpoint of, okay, how do I want to help this person? What's going to be helpful? Oh, this is super clear now when I'm not worried about how it's going to affect.
Yeah.
Me.
So look, you already know, and there's a phrase, it's like getting out of ego. The Christian phrase is dying to self. Like,
yeah.
The psychology phrase is letting the ego go. And Christianese, dying to self. So we know how to step aside and step up into a higher level of love, a higher level of service. So that's right. Like, your takeaway was, okay, so am I going to serve ego and self? Or am I going to show up and love them?
Right.
And yes, will showing up and love them mean possibly, does it risk rejection? Does it risk a hurt relationship? Does it risk all that? Yeah, but I'm going to love them because they need it. And I'm going to get over myself, and I'm going to do this. And you'll become you'll practice that more as a coach. Your content, probably the quality of your content will change. You're already practicing that.
Yeah.
What would I say to a friend? And that's one of my favorite things. Like, so the next question you have, you could say, like, okay, if a friend were in this situation, what would I tell them?
Yeah.
And then you listen to your own inner brilliance, inner wisdom, that God has gifted you with.
Yeah.
And along with the Holy Spirit, and you'll just, it's really exciting to see. So, before we end, is there anything else you wanted to bring up, get quick support with?
I don't think so. I thank you for that takeaway of, if someone is really pushing back and being hateful, that, okay, let's evaluate that relationship, because it's not my responsibility to maintain peace with them and be in this relationship. Like, yes, be loving and caring, but that doesn't really need to stay close. So I appreciate that, to know, like, okay, if someone's really hateful, which probably rare cases if I'm speaking truth in love, and if they are, then I can say, okay, let's take a step back, and that's okay. I don't need to have everybody happy with me.
Yes. Yeah. And there's that skill of, which you don't come off as somebody that's going to just like speak out of line or offer unsolicited advice. That's usually for people like me that need to slow it down And so I don't really suspect that you would be a person, because like even when you are respond online, like you're responding to questions that people ask. That's your open invitation
Mm-hmm.
of feedback. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, where people on me love to just give opinions, like, hey, everyone, stop doing this. But you know, there's a time and place for that. There's a value for that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I have no doubt that you would know, and you can always just like, you know, can I state an observation? You can
Mm-hmm.
ask, get that permission first, like, can I
Right.
get an observation, or are you
That's
open
a
to
good way to put it.
feedback?
Yeah.
And you know, if they say no, not right now, like, okay,
That's
honor it.
fine.
And
Yeah.
when they're ready, they're ready. Now, if you feel like a very strong impression that
Mm-hmm.
they need kind of like a wake up call,
Yeah.
you know, but you'll know that. And, you know,
Right.
as you're a believer, you got the help of the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
the ultimate life coach that is always
Right.
for you.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. And I'm excited I've always been the nice person, and I'm excited to move forward into, yes, nice person. And I want people to describe me as someone who stands strong in her convictions and who, like, that kind of thing. So it's not, oh, nice, but that I'm also, standing strong in my convictions. I'm very helpful and like in challenging people and pulling out good things in them and helping enact life change like that. So that's what I want, and I think that'll start coming out more.
Give yourself permission to do it.
Yeah.
That's what you want, and I allow myself to do it.
Right.
And you don't have to mimic or mock how everybody else does it. Do it.
Right. Yeah.
Do it. Do you. And I think this will really help you as well. Like I noticed on, in our forum that we're in, I think this will help you push through like a fear of success, which really I think
Mm-hmm.
comes down to a fear of being seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is that part of you that's the soul or the spirit in you that like is getting it's you're called out. You're getting called out to rise up and
Mm-hmm.
stand out and to have
Yeah.
a voice and to share a message and to be
Right.
seen and to be heard.
Right.
And so you're doing the work to get yourself stronger in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it is scary. I was terrified of that for the longest time. I hid for a while
Mm-hmm.
and gained like 30 pounds because that's also a form of hiding is gaining
Mm-hmm.
weight because you're afraid of being seen. And so I'm like, okay, enough, man. My body is even like trying to hide. So
Well, I just lost like almost 30 pounds, so I'm coming out, baby.
yeah, I see that. I saw your work and I was like, okay, I see the symbolism between the mind, body, spirit connection. And like
Mm-hmm.
you're releasing the weight, right? You're rising up. You're
Mm-hmm.
saying yes to yourself, yes to success, yes to your call, and yes into that true, authentic version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not uncommon to release weight or to
Mm-hmm.
um, have more breakthrough, just to show up a little bit more and start attracting your audience or
Mm-hmm.
your tribe or who you're assigned to serve,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. I like looking at it as assignment. Like these are people I'm assigned to shepherd.
Sure.
And so I see that in you and I witnessed that, and that's very exciting to see.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thank you
And
too, Stephanie.
all right, you have a lovely day.
Thanks, you too. See ya.
Okay, so there you have it. That was my call with Tricia. And just like I said in the intro, and as you just witnessed in this coaching call, it was really less of a coaching call where she needed like clarity. I did digging and she was willing to dig deep, but some of the things that I asked, she answered, and things just weren't um, coming up as like true sources or real sources of the problem. And so after we eliminated all of this stuff, it just came down to she needed a witness. She just needed somebody to witness and affirm um, that she was doing the work, to help encourage her. Like, I see you, I see what you're doing. You are doing the work. You are making the changes. You are implementing and applying this. You are aware of it, and you're doing something about it. And so I acknowledge and I witness you for that. So this is my tip for coaches, actually. And I did kind of give her like this little coaching competency 101 kind of. I joked with her because she is a coach, and um, you know, it's okay. Like, if what you think may be happening, or you might not, like, just because you see a common trend or common theme or pattern in a lot of people, like people pleasing usually or typically is rooted in needing to feel loved and secure, and so you keep pleasing to get that love in return. That didn't resonate with her. She's like, I don't think it's to get loved, it's to keep the security of the relationship. And so instead of it being more of like a limiting belief or like a fear-based thing from some significant event in her childhood that she learned, because she couldn't really identify or pinpoint anything like that, um, it really truly is like her wiring. She does have a personality wiring that values that peacemaking and kind of shies away from conflict or confrontation. And so once we weeded out like that there's not a bigger, deeper issue or a soul wound or, ties of attachment that need to be broken off, it came down to like, um, you know, this is your wiring that you're acknowledging. You're overusing a strength. It's now becoming a weakness. You're aware of it, and you're also doing the work to push through it and to move on from it. And she did that in the call. You got to witness during this conversation that she's like, this isn't really resonating with me. And that takes courage to do when you have like someone you perceive as an expert guide to say like, I disagree. I'm not sure if that's really relevant or applicable to me, or something just doesn't feel right about it. And you kind of do a pushback. And we got to acknowledge her doing that and giving her voice and disagreeing, and everything was okay, right? It all worked out. All was well. Didn't damage the relationship. And it helped me to help her more. So, coaches, don't get attached to the answer. Don't get attached to what you think is going on, and be okay with like, what you perceive, what you assume. Honestly, you may be assuming like, oh, this must be like everybody else that I coach through, but like none of the answers were giving you anything that typically falls into this type of theme of a call. And so you're kind of going on this together. It's a journey that you're doing together. A coach doesn't know everything. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I may see a lot of similar patterns and similar things, say a lot of the same things, and ask a lot of the same questions, and hear very similar answers from people. But that doesn't always happen all the time. So with Tricia, it was like it was more of an encouragement. So anyway, so that is my, I guess, coaching tip. Or if you give advice to other people, or people seek you for help, like, it's okay to navigate and explore together. And then I like once you realize like it's not what you may have originally thought it was. It's totally okay to like just say, I think it's just an opportunity to witness and acknowledge. Totally okay. So you don't have to always have this like massive, like, oh my gosh, my mind is blown moment on these calls. Now, I love those, but it's valuable. And Tricia's takeaways were, what were her takeaways? The check, oh, coming from a place of love. Like, okay, so she had to be aware of, like, oh, if I kind of shrink back because I'm afraid to say something, I have to, like, be aware that, like, it's actually love to say something, to speak up, because this helps bring us closer. This helps set this person free and brings them awareness to areas that they need to address. And it really sets her free because she's not harboring it and it's not eating at her. So she got that aha moment. And so now, and she started to see, like, oh, I do this in this area of my life. I can just do it in this area. Like, when, you know, as a believer, her, you know, sharing her beliefs, sharing about Christ, like, she was getting revelation of that and was like, oh, I can carry this over to here. So you'll see that. So my question to you is, where in your life do you feel like you may be insecure? Could you relate to Tricia at all? Like, do you get triggered when it comes to having a voice and being bold? Do you find that you are people pleasing? And with the questions that I asked her, even though some of it wasn't relevant to her, maybe it brought memories to you. Maybe some things were brought to your attention. Like, maybe you did remember, like, oh, I remember this moment in childhood when my dad blah blah blah, or my mom blah blah blah, or this teacher whatever, and like work through these questions. So review this episode again and listen to the questions I ask, write down these questions yourself, and do the work and see if you can identify, am I serving to from a full cup to give love, or am I serving to get love, to feel secure, to feel safe, and to, you know, feed me? Am I trying to feed me, or am I feeding others because I already am full? So that's kind of the differentiator. And leave a comment. What did you get from this? What did you learn from this? How are you going to apply the knowledge from this call? What are you going to do moving forward to change? How are you going to either change yourself and help yourself, or both, change others and help others? Not you, you can't change others, they change themselves. But how are you going to use this to help others break free and own who they are? So thank you for stopping by, tuning in to this episode of Breaking Free and Owning Me. I love hearing from you. Please be engaged in the comments if this was valuable at all. Make sure to subscribe to not miss another episode. Click the bell to get notifications, so you can be up to date with the latest show. And leave a comment. I want to see the conversation. Ask me a question. If you want to be a caller, let me know. You can email me at stephanie@movedbypurpose.net, and I want to hear engagement and see conversations. All right. Talk to you guys all next time. Bye.